And one good thing we got in pandemic was it forced digitization. If we talk about pre-pandemic era, it would have taken 7 to 8 years to reach the level of digitization we have achieved during pandemic, as it was forced and we do not have the option.
The technological revolution has already accelerated to another level. Technologies like robotics, AI, machine learning, Internet of Things, blockchain, drones, and augmented reality are being harnessed to create a safer, efficient, and more productive environment. Hello and welcome to the Honest Talk by Freak Folks. I'm Harsh Pandey. For this particular session, we have with us very special guest, Mr. Jagdish Baheti, sir. He currently holds the position of Chief Financial Officer at Delfingian India Private Limited. He's an experienced chartered accountant and MBA with 13 plus years of post qualification experience into the manufacturing industry, having SAP knowledge and skills in budgeting, planning, forecasting, monthly, yearly closing, taxation, audits, and compliance. So, first of all, sir, I welcome you to in this session. Thank you so much for joining and agreeing to share your thoughts with us.
Thanks, Hertz. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thanks for your invite.
Thank you so much, sir. It's our pleasure to. So, moving to the topic of today's session, which we have chosen is AI and digitization into the manufacturing and automotive sector. So, my very first question to you is: we all know very well we are going through this very unprecedented time. So, my question to you is: how this pandemic has created an opportunity for digitization and how fast it is moving? How government is actually helping in digitization?
Well, Hertz, pandemic has created a pain, but it has also given some upside in the form of digitization, and it has resolved multiple issues which we had faced for many years. Digitization has improved customer focus, lot of issues from logistics and supply chain, data security, evolution of products and services. There are various other benefits which digitization gave is it has enhanced competition. We can understand customers better. It has standardized and automated business processes and also reduced costs. Pandemic has forced digitization. Let me go a few years back when our government had started Digital India initiative. I know from 44 mission mode projects, there were very few which were completed. Especially one I know is for digitization of bank, and the second I think it was for passports. We can see banks are very highly digitized now. We see a lot of benefits, and passport digitization also gave us friendly way of getting passports. Apart from these two projects, huge success of these two projects, rest 42 projects were struggling to be completed. And one good thing we got in pandemic was it forced digitization. If we talk about pre-pandemic era, it would have taken 7 to 8 years to reach the level of digitization we have achieved during pandemic, as it was forced and we do not had the option. Either we had to work from home or digitize operations, or you may risk shutting down the businesses. Best part of this process is around 70% of the businesses were able to save around 6 to 7% of operations cost, which include travel, canteen, and other sundry office expenses, which is great, and it means that saved cost can be effectively utilized for better productive areas.
Correct, sir. I think you have stressed on many parts and how this digitalization has changed all of us, our life. You have told how this pandemic has actually fostered the digitalization process. So my next question to you is, as you have been in this automobile sector, sir, my question to you is artificial intelligence in manufacturing industries, especially automotive, how it can help to reduce accidents and improve the overall process and reduce costs.
Well, artificial intelligence is a game changing technology for any industry. As the technology matures and costs drop, AI is becoming more accessible for companies. In manufacturing, it can be effective at making things. as well as making them better and cheaper. The manufacturing industry has always been eager to embrace new technologies and doing so successfully. Now, with AI adoption, they are able to make rapid changes in manufacturing processes, minimize operational costs, and improve the way they serve their customers. Now, automotive market is pushing towards safer mobility. Today, if we buy a vehicle, one of the most important factor is safety of the car.
Correct.
In the world, we have around 1.35 million fatalities coming out of road accidents every year. That is about one fatality every 30 seconds. And if you see non-fatal accidents, which includes permanent disabilities, is about 20 to 50 millions. And 90% of these accidents are due to human error. And particularly in India, we see around 450 deaths per day coming out from road accidents. So this societal goal should be zero fatalities and no serious injuries in road accidents. So we need to build machines which are safer than humans, that can save a lot of lives as well, and they save the impact of accidents on our overall GDP.
Correct.
A lot of vehicle companies are running their pilot projects in using AI to autonomous driving, trying to make them safe for passengers. It's the hardest engineering challenge. Driverless vehicles are slowly, virtually making their way into the transportation sector. In few countries, autonomous driving vehicles are allowed, and driver just have to keep his hands on the steering wheels, for a few seconds to confirm that he's attentive. Autonomous driving can reduce fatalities, accidents, ease congestions, gain time, and have more efficient parking and utilization of city space. No driving license is required, and added to that, preventive maintenance, which will prevent accidents and also reduce the costs. So, in the future, as this technology evolves, self-driving vehicle can gain mass confidence and remove accidents attributed on account of driver behaviors.
Indeed, sir. I think this is something wholeheartedly welcome change. We all need this as if we look into this future generation. So my next question to you is, as again you have been into this automotive industry. So my question to you is, what do you believe? What are the factors that made the automotive industry recover, and the reason for the growth in auto demand recently?
A very interesting question, Hers. I would like to answer this question in two parts. Part one, as we all know, during COVID, everybody wanted to be safe and they don't want it to use public transport. Rather, people prefer to have their own vehicles. It has become priority for many people to buy own vehicles, be it two-wheeler, new cars, or used cars. So first time buyers prefer to buy pre-owned cars owing to lower cost of purchase, while existing car owners are showing preference to buy a new car. And secondly, if you look at the figures of auto sector, especially passenger cars and two-wheelers, a lot of penetration has happened in rural areas. If we talk about, let's say, Maruti alone, it's expanding the base in rural sales development by 50% in rural areas, so that they can push sales of entry level cars in rural areas, because a lot many people are buying entry level cars, especially passenger vehicles and even two wheelers.
Correct.
So normally we see 40% contribution from rural area every year, but last year in 2021 we saw a 50% contribution from rural areas. So all these figures are giving an indication that next growth engine for overall Indian economy to increase its GDP, overall Indian economy to increase per capita income, overall Indian economy standard of living shall only be derived from rural sector now. So it has become it was the most important factor why there is a huge demand in auto sector, and it recovered very sharply.
Indeed, sir. I think again you have told many important things, and you have given us a very detailed analysis and insights from this automotive industry. And I think it's a kind of privilege today we got to hear all those things from you. Sir, my next question to you is, as whenever we talk about digitalization, we need to understand is that technology is getting advanced by the minute, not by the hour or the day. So my question is, or whenever we talk about the digitalization, one important aspect which comes about is UPI or digital payment. So my request to you is kindly please explain us a bit more about how digitalization has eased the payment process, especially in the current period, and how actually UPI payments are increasingly and more people want to use digital payments.
Well, Hers, let me explain real situation of payment processes. Look at 10 years back. 90% of the payments were done through papers. You had checks to prepare and make the payment. And more than 75% of the time of finance team had to put in reconciling and managing payment system, to ensure that there is no leakage, etc. Just before pandemic, it was around 50-60% in digital mode, and currently it's now more than 80-85% digitization. And lot many people not even accept paper payments at all, as it takes more time and cost, and risk is also very high in paper payments.
Indeed,
So we can also see a massive increase in the amounts of UPI transactions, and in fact number of UPI transactions are increasing month on month. On an average, in March 21, we had in fact 5 lakh crore of UPI transactions compared to 1.5 lakh crore in March 20. So it has increased on a 10% monthly compounded annual rate from March 20 to March 21. I think the number of transactions happening through credit cards, debit cards at the point of sales, UPI has exceeded all. This is also known as peer to merchant transactions and commonly called as P2M transactions. It has benefited the most because of zero merchant discount rate called as MDR regime. There is ample room for growth in digital transactions, and with this very soon we will be moving to cashless regime also.
indeed. All right, sir. Sir, my next question to you is, or rather say, it's a kind of actually, I want to know your thoughts. What do you believe? What is the biggest digital revolution you can predict in the next coming years?
Well, I think digital and cryptocurrencies could be the next biggest revolution. As we all know, China's central bank, that is People's Bank of China, has launched eRMB as first digital currency to be issued by a major economy. So, a lot of trials are being conducted for its uses by People's Bank of China. Government is yet to confirm a proposed timeline for the rollout, but definitely it will make a big digital transformation for Chinese economy. Now, 80% of the world's central banks has started to conceptualize and research the potentials of central bank digital currencies, and out of which around 10% has already started the pilot projects. RBI will also soon launch India's own digital currency. An internal committee was already formed to work on this model, and it will be soon declared by RBI how it's going to be regulated. It's going to be a big digital revolution for all of us.
Indeed, sir. I think this will be really fascinating for all of us. So my next question to you is, or actually I have got this question. I have asked you a lot question about your what are these changes in digitalization, how the things are happening in this automotive industry. But let me ask some of the questions about your personal and professional life. So my question to you is, you have started your career with consulting, and then you are currently working as a CFO. So, what difference you felt while being in consulting and the industry? What are your learnings in your career?
Let me talk about my experience, my career experience. I'm having around 12 years of post qualification learning experience. People normally call experience as work experience, but I humbly believe that it's a learning experience. And for me, learning is the most important thing. I started my career with a consulting firm, and my first few projects were with Thermax and narrow leg pants. The good thing is that I worked as a consultant for various departments, be it sales, production, HR, IT, finance, and operations, which gave me a very good understanding how an organization actually works. Then I joined industry and started working in a typical Indian manufacturing company. I realized the difference between consulting and working in industry, that as a consultant, you need to find the problems and ask or question to company management to find the solution. But working in a company, we have to find the problems and solution also ourselves.
Okay.
During working in a company, if one find a problem but not the solution, it means 50% work is done. I had touched upon every different function which is there in the finance world, be it FP&A, be it controllership, be it supply chain finance, project finance, and then also in some specialist functions like tax, M&A, and treasury as well. So in all, it's a great kind of, as I will say, learning experience in my career.
That's really excellent. And I'm sure the viewers, those who are watching this session, they are surely going to find this fascinating as well as learning part of this conversation. So my next question to you is actually this pandemic has happened and suddenly we have seen the shifting of this education system, which actually has shifted from offline world to online mode. So my question to you is how do you see the changes in education system after the pandemic and what is your suggestion to students who are recently graduating? Give your views on what you have done to reach to this position, of course.
For me, the most important thing I observed in my career is acquiring the knowledge is not very important, but what you do with that knowledge is more important. One can acquire knowledge by studying, reading, doing a professional course, or in any way. But it's more important for everybody is after getting the knowledge, what and how they use it.
Correct.
uh, we can see a big change into our educational system as well. Our education is now slowly moving towards practical things, and even examination pattern is becoming more practical rather than theoretical. Last year, exams were cancelled. This year, again, a lot of exams are cancelled, like last year, but still evaluation is done. Students are getting admissions and results are declared.
Yes.
I mean to say that from pandemic we learned that instead of testing knowledge theoretically, why don't it's tested practically? For example, after teaching a formula in a particular engineering college, rather than testing whether students remember that formula or not, it should be tested how and where they can apply this formula practically in construction or in science or in discoveries, and that to be given more weightage. So I learned very early in my career that you need to make your hands dirty in order to learn something from somebody. I always drop down from my position and engaged with the people to understand ground realities and how actual operations work. I was also lucky enough in the companies where I worked that I was hungry for the knowledge and understanding people were also very supportive to explain how they works, and that's how it starts building up. Of course, you cannot run away from your core job and be on a training mode always. It has to be a combination of both, that you do your core job and also you get understanding of other functions and develop yourself accordingly. So I was able to do that, and that helped me with better understanding of the functions across the organizations.
Indeed, sir. I think you have stressed on the many important elements which is needed to understand by most of the students those who are actually studying in today's generation. And sir, I can say there's a lot more to learn from you, but today I don't want to take too much of your time. So moving to my last question of this session. So my question to you is after COVID, which are the new areas to enter and has COVID created any new opportunities? And one more question, what do you believe, what is success? And one more question, is it only hard work which is required to be successful?
Well, a lot many people think to be successful in a business, hard work and passion is the only requirement. But I think there is another very important thing, which is above all, and that is timing.
All right.
Even if you look at the history and whoever successful businessman we see, right from Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, etc., you will understand a very important thing, and that is timing. So I think we have to be at the right time and right place, and it's very important to be at right time and right place. If you see history of these two people in 1970s when they graduated and entered into the market, personal computers were just invented, and they thought this is the new market and they started their businesses. If they had graduated say 2 3 years early and started something else, maybe a job or another type of business, do you think they could have left their jobs and entered into personal computer development?
Maybe not.
The answer is definitely no. So now the question is, currently after impact of COVID, are there something new to enter, or is there anything new in the current times? I would say artificial intelligence and machine learning, concept of networking, how big is your network, and using internet will make you successful. This is the right time to do all this.
Indeed, sir, it was really a very wonderful answer from your side. Thank you so much, sir, for joining and giving your important time. It was a kind of healthy conversation with you over the topic. We look forward to conduct more such sessions with you in future.
Thanks, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
On the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside.